Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you too. Hello, everybody.
So Jenna Moreci is an author that I love. She's extremely informative and I love her videos so much. Now, she has a lot of videos and I decided to highlight some of my favorite tips from her that you might be able to get some help from. Hey y'all, I'm Bella, an aspiring author currently working on my debut novel, temporarily titled Alina. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not an expert, so I figured I would share one with you. Now, Jenna Moreci is a New York Times bestseller, and she has released multiple books that I personally don't read just because they're dark fantasy and I'm not a fan of dark fantasy. So I look to her as a resource because the amount of information that she has is a lot. So now we'll get on to the tips. Tip number 1, set specific goals. She always makes sure to say to make sure that the goals that you set are specific and attainable. So if your goal for this year is to write a book, don't just put on your to-do list, write a book. You want to make sure that the big goal is broken down into smaller goals that you can achieve over time. She always says to make sure that they are trackable. That way you can check them off and see your progress from beginning to end. Now, one of the ways that she tracks her goals is by using the quarterly system, which is like the year broken down into 3-month periods, so 4 of them. And when she's setting her goals for the beginning of the quarter, she will set a lot of them, and her goal is not to complete all of them, but to complete half of them. The video that she talks about this is Get More Stuff Done and How to Track Your Goals. I'm gonna link this video and all the other videos that I mentioned in the video down below, so you can just go through, watch all of them, and get more tips and expand on what you receive from me. Tip number 2. This isn't necessarily something that she's said in a specific video that I can think of. However, she does say it in a lot of videos, and it's to study the craft. You can do this through books or courses, YouTube videos, anything really that just helps you learn something new about the actual act of writing, whether it be writing, editing, publishing, social platforms, anything like that. And for this, I instead want to highlight a book that she published called Shut Up and Write the Book. I've mentioned it in other videos, but this book is a craft book from writing your novel from I plan to print, I think. Either way, I'll link the Amazon link below. Tip number 3 is to build an author platform. Again, she doesn't have one specific video. She does have a Skillshare class, but she has multiple videos about building a platform in various different ways and tips to go along with that. But in order to make money as an author, you really do need a platform. Now, the way you build a platform is really through social media. You can kind of do it with a blog, but it's a lot trickier now. And I don't think you can just do it with a website. It's really difficult to get people there. So my recommendation and hers is to be on social media. Now, social media is a way of connecting with potential readers, other writers. It's a way of networking and establishing your name, whether or not you have a book. And you don't need one to have a platform. Platform matters. The larger your platform, the more likely it is that you're going to make money doing this. For YouTube, they just lowered their affiliate program, which is 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. I am nowhere near there, but I'm hoping to get there soon. But they've lowered that. You can do TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, obviously YouTube. Well, those are the 4 main ones that I can plan on doing in the future. Currently, I'm working on building, obviously, my YouTube channel, but I'm also working towards building Twitter as well. I've started doing that too. But in order to make money when selling your books, the readers have to actually know you're there. So having a platform of any kind anywhere is a good idea. Now, my personal recommendation is to start with one and then go from there. You, as one person, will not be able to keep up with multiple channels or multiple platforms, but starting with one, mastering one, will help you on in the future. Tip number 4, plotting and structure. She is an extreme plotter and I'm kind of on that same boat, but she really advocates for plotting your novel in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's doing a full shortened novel of tens of thousands of words before actually writing your book, which is what she and I do, or plotting your novel as you go through the first draft phase, maybe doing a basic outline before you start of just the major plot points, or even plotting after your first draft and when you go back through for your edits, marking it down as you go. But she really does advocate for having an outline because it's a very easy way of seeing your novel at a quick glance and not needing to read through 50 to 100 plus thousand words. She says that when it comes to a novel, every single author should understand structure. There are no exceptions. If your book does not have a basic structure, it is not a book. It's just a series of events that happen with no beginning and end. It's not a novel. It's not a fiction novel, at least. One of her videos is 10 best tips for plotting, how to structure your book. This is a video that I've seen a couple of times. Again, will be linked below. Tip number 5, create a hub for your world building. It can be a Google Docs, it can be a wiki like some authors do. It could be, I think she recommends Worldbuilding if I remember correctly. It can be a Milanote, doesn't matter. Anywhere, you might even be able to do it on paper depending on how big your novel is or your novel series. But every single author that writes fantasy in some way, shape, or form should have one main location where all of your information for your novel lies. Now, this is imperative so that you're not sifting through notebooks, multiple documents, post-it notes lying around your desk. It helps make the tracking process easier. If you're writing a series and you have a house in book 1 that reappears in book 4, you need to know what type of furniture is within the room. If you mention this house in book 4 and you don't have a hub for your information, you'll have to go back through book 1 and reread basically almost the entire book in order to try to find where the information related to that house is. Now, she talks about a few world building. She has a few world building videos. However, one of them that I like is 10 best tips for world building, which again, link below. Tip number 6, consistency and habits. Motivation is fleeting. She says that it's unreliable and it's a lot better to build habits than it is to rely on motivation. If your goal is to make writing your sole source of income, it is extremely important that you have some sort of habit, whether it's writing your book 1 week out of the month, a few days out of the week, it doesn't matter. And no, you don't have to write every day in order to become an author. It's a bad tip, and writing every day doesn't work for everybody. You do not need motivation to finish your book. It helps, certainly helps, but it's not needed. And in order to finish your book within a reasonable time frame and not taking 5+ years on one single book, you need to build up habits in some way, shape, or form. She always mentions that you are the one writing the book. It's not on anyone else. It's not on your parents, your publisher, your agent, your friend, your characters, which is one thing that seems to be mentioned a lot to her. You are the one writing the book. You are the one that needs to finish the book and tell the story in your voice. So you cannot rely on anybody else. She does talk a lot about rewarding yourself in order to help with the process, and that rewards are one thing that I absolutely love and I think is extremely important. When you are writing a novel, there are various different points within the process that you could lose steam. A lot of authors know the beginning, they know the end, but the middle section is really where people have trouble with. So having rewards set for when you finish a scene or a chapter, or every 5 or even every 10 or even every 5,000 words, it makes the process a lot easier and makes building habits a lot easier. Now for this tip, I want to highlight 2 videos. It's the secrets to being motivated to write and finish your book. And the second is top 5 tips for staying motivated while writing your book. Tip number 7, treat it like a business, because it is. If you are writing the book with the intention of publishing and receiving money for it, you need to treat it like a business, because it is. If someone is giving you money for a product that you have created and sold, it is a business. If you want to make it as an author, if you want to make a living off your novels, why are there so many goddamn planes? Where even was I? Whatever. If you want to make a living off of your novels, you have to give it the respect of that. You have to build a foundation that is a business. You have to have a business mindset. You are going to be dealing with money and taxes and various different platforms that you are going to be publishing to, and marketing is a whole other shit show that you have to deal with. In order to actually make it through this process, in order to publish more than one book, you have to go into it with the mindset that it's going to take time. It's going to be hard. And this tip, along with multiple others, is what she mentions in a video called 10 Truths of Being a Writer. God, that plane really fucked me up for this tip. Whatever, I'm not restarting it. I'll just move on to the next one. Tip number 8, understanding the harsh realities of being an author. You're probably not going to sell millions of copies of a single book. You're probably not going to get a movie deal or a TV deal. The amount of books that make it to that point is extremely small. You have to be realistic about the realities of being an author. The average book will sell anywhere between 99 and 10,000 copies in its lifetime. Not within a certain period of time, in the book's lifetime. And if you don't want your hopes and your dreams to be absolutely crushed before you've even started, you have to understand that it is extremely difficult. But you have to understand the way you define making it as a writer. In my definition of making it as a writer, I don't say I'm going to make it when I sell 5, 10, 100,000 copies. I say when I make it as a writer, it's when the money that I put into publishing my novel is given back to me, but through selling said novel to people that I don't know. All I want is to make enough money to not lose money publishing. And that's all I really need. If I make more, that's great. I would be ecstatic if I make more, but I don't need that to make it as an author. Now, a video that she talks about this is 10 writer expectations versus 10 harsh realities. Number 9, all the feels. If you're going to draw an emotion from the authors, if you're going to express an emotion within the writing and the characters, you have to understand that. You have to know how it affects the characters, how it affects the story, how to actually write it to where whatever emotion your character is feeling, your readers feel it too. You want to understand how these emotions will affect the character, the plot, the direction that the story goes, and you want to study them explicitly. You want to really dive into each one. And if you're going to do it, follow through with it. If you're going to have a romance, know how to write romances. Thank you, Trash Man. Appreciate it. If you're going to write a plot twist, understand how to write plot twists and if the plot twist is even necessary. Not every book has one, and not every book needs one. And if you're going to kill off a character, follow through with it. Don't kill them off and bring them back in the next page. And if you do decide to bring them back, make sure that your readers have time to feel that emotion, and make sure that if you bring them back, there is a really good reason and there is some sort of setup to that you had done previous to the character dying. You don't want to give your readers empty emotions. You don't want to try to give them one emotion, feel bad for giving it, and then immediately take it away on the very next page. It's going to make your readers DNF your book. And even if they finish your novel, there's a high chance that if you give them empty emotions, they're not going to pick up your next one. So if you're going to give them an emotion to feel, make sure you follow through with it. Now, the video where she talks about this isn't one specifically. It's more like a playlist, which I will link below. But it's a big playlist of 10 best tips with all of her best tips videos. You can go there, look at all of them, search for specific ones related to what you're writing about, and go from there. Tip number 10. I don't have one. 10 is a better number than 9 on the YouTube algorithm, so sorry. But instead, I'm going to have you comment below your favorite tip that maybe you've heard from Jenna, or maybe you've heard from a different author. We can go in, find new authors and YouTubers that give amazing tips for us as new readers, and maybe help others discover new authors that vibe with them, that they have yet to find, or maybe have new tips that they haven't heard about. Now that's been my video. I'm hoping to do more of these. If you, again, comment down below. Why do I keep saying link? Comment down below and let me know if there's any other authors that you love that maybe I can do a video for this. I have a few on my list. When I'm done with those, I might get to more. But if you like this type of video, like the video, subscribe if you want more, and bye.